Okay, so when you hear the word punk, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably loud music, crazy haircuts, maybe a couple of safety pins, right? Well, today we're going to dig way deeper and uncover the seriously powerful idea hiding behind all of that.
Yeah, I bet you're picturing something like this. Singers screaming their heads off, some wild hair, maybe a few safety pins in places they probably shouldn't be. But if you think that's the whole story, oh, you are not even close.
Because at its heart, punk is really all about one big idea: being yourself and refusing to just do what you're told. It's a powerful statement about individuality. And believe it or not, it all starts with a look.
So, first up, the look. Yeah, the fashion is totally iconic. But here's the thing, it was never just about looking cool. It was a uniform of nonconformity. Every single rip and every pin was a way of shouting, I am not like everyone else.
The secret here is that this wasn't some style guide somebody handed you. It was something you created. You'd grab a leather jacket, rip up your jeans, throw on your favorite band's t-shirt. It was all about rejecting what was trendy and building an identity for yourself, usually with stuff you could find and customize on your own. It was your armor, a way to show the world who you were without ever saying a word.
And that exact same rebellious energy is what fueled the music. You see, back in the mid-70s, rock music had gotten kind of huge and, well, complicated. We're talking 10-minute guitar solos and massive, expensive stage shows. Punk was the complete opposite. It was this powerful backlash that basically screamed, hey, you don't need to be some rock god. Anyone can do this.
I mean, just look at the difference here. Mainstream rock was this big, glossy, super polished machine that cost a ton of money. Punk rock, it was born in garages. It was simple, it was fast, it was raw, and it was cheap. It wasn't about being a perfect musician, it was about having something to say and having the pure, raw energy to shout it out loud.
So, what did it actually sound like? Honestly, think of it like a super simple recipe for pure energy. You take a really fast beat, throw in some simple, powerful guitar chords, you don't need any crazy, complicated solos, and then you just top it off with vocals that are way more about passion than hitting every note perfectly. The whole point was to create something direct, immediate, and full of life.
And this brings us to maybe the most important part of punk. That idea that anyone can do this is the absolute core of it all. It comes down to one simple philosophy: DIY, do it yourself. This wasn't just a fun little suggestion, it was the entire rulebook.
So what does DIY even mean? It's the belief that you don't have to wait for some big record company or a fancy publisher to give you permission to create something. It's kind of like starting your own YouTube channel today, right? You just grab your phone, you film something, you edit it, and you upload it. You don't ask anyone if it's okay, you just do it. That is the punk spirit.
And this is exactly how they put it into practice. People didn't sit around waiting to get discovered. No. You and your friends would start a band, you'd record your own music in a basement, you'd design your own flyers and t-shirts, and you'd book your own shows in community halls. You literally built the entire scene yourselves, from the ground up.
And a massive part of this whole DIY world was something called a zine. Think of it like the original offline blog, or maybe your first Instagram feed. It was a totally handmade magazine you could put together with a typewriter, some scissors, and a photocopier. It was how you shared your opinions, interviewed bands you liked, and spread ideas directly to people in your community. No algorithm, no corporation deciding what everyone got to see. This whole DIY attitude led to the explosion of independent record labels. These were small labels, a lot of them run by fans, that would put out music for bands without trying to change their sound or make them more commercial. You can think of it like an indie game developer who makes their own game and releases it directly to players. They keep total creative control. And that's exactly what punk bands wanted. Okay, so we've got the look, we've got the sound, and we've got the DIY attitude. But what were these bands actually singing about? This was definitely not just random noise. That raw, frantic energy was the perfect way to deliver some really powerful messages.
Punk lyrics did not hold back, at all. Bands were singing about being fed up with the government, with school, with society in general. They were writing about big ideas like personal freedom, but also about the everyday struggles of just trying to figure out who you are. These were feelings that so many young people had but never ever heard in mainstream music, which is what made punk feel so incredibly real and important.
And there were a few key bands that really led the charge. Over in the US, you had the Ramones. They basically wrote the playbook for short, fast, super high-energy punk songs. Then, in the UK, you had the Sex Pistols, who just brought this level of pure shock and rebellion that nobody had ever seen before. And then there was The Clash, who took it even further, mixing punk with other styles like reggae and writing these incredibly smart songs about what was going on in the world. Each one added a totally different flavor, proving that punk wasn't just one thing.
And you know what? This wasn't just some trend that stayed in New York and London. The core ideas of punk, expressing yourself, doing it yourself, and questioning authority, they spread like wildfire all across the globe. And as punk spread, it started to change and evolve. It became this huge family tree with all these different branches. You got hardcore, which was even faster and more aggressive. You got pop punk, which mixed all that raw energy with super catchy sing-along melodies. Anarcho-punk focused almost completely on political messages, while post-punk got way more artistic and experimental. So from that first explosion in the 70s to all the new styles that popped up in the 80s, punk has never really gone away. And today, well, the DIY spirit is probably stronger than it's ever been, all thanks to technology. Bands can record an entire album in their bedroom and use social media to find fans all over the world, completely bypassing the old system. It's DIY for the digital age.
So, after all of that, the fashion, the music, the attitude, if we had to boil every single thing we've talked about down into one single powerful idea, what would it be?
This. Right here, this is it. Ultimately, punk isn't about a certain haircut or a specific guitar sound. It's about freedom. It's the freedom to pick up an instrument even if you barely know how to play it, the freedom to express exactly who you are, and the freedom to make sure your voice gets heard no matter what. Which kind of leaves us with one last thought. Think about it. Today we have YouTubers, TikTok creators, indie game developers, artists selling their stuff directly online. The tools are totally different. We're using laptops instead of photocopiers, but that core idea of making your own thing on your own terms, has that punk spirit ever really gone away? I don't think so. Thanks for watching.